Good evening. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend with some Ulster Rugby Live. Second place Ulster can go top of the table tonight with a bonus point win. Andy Ward and Maurice Field are with me for the big game. And gents, with the other four challengers for the playoff places all playing each other this weekend, it's Ospreys Leinster tonight and Munster Glasgow tomorrow night. Big opportunity for Ulster this evening.
Very much so. I think we remember talking about this a couple of months back, whereby we thought, you know, if Ulster can hold on and stay in contention in the top four, this day will come, or this weekend certainly will come, and here we are right upon us. And hopefully we can set it back Sunday evening and take the spoils.
Maurice, by their own admission, Ulster haven't been playing particularly well, but they've been winning. But how much of an improvement do you think they need to beat a Scarlets team who drew with Munster last weekend?
Well, as they said by their own admission, they've been winning ugly, and that's what Ulster need to be doing at this stage of the season. Six Nations, they knew that these rack of games are the ones that they had to win to put themselves in contention, and they're there at the present minute, sitting second in the table. Now they're at home. They haven't lost here at the Kingspan. They've only lost once since the start of the 2013 season, and Ospreys have only they've not won in the last 12 months away from home. So this is a must-win game for them.
Okay, Maurice, Andy, thank you very much indeed. These two teams played out a thrilling 32-all draw in the first Pro 12 game this season in Wales. Let's see how things unfold tonight in the company of Ryan Constable and Jim Neely.
Well, it's cold. The temperature has dropped considerably, and there's a bit of a breeze, but at least it's dry. And there, as ever, is the warmest character in Ravenhill, much admired by his young friends. And out come the Llanelli Scarlets. This is the fourth time these sides have met this season. They had a 32-all draw right at the start of the season in Parky Scarlets in the opening game in the league. Then they had back-to-back games in Europe. Only one change in the Scarlets pack, which sees George Earl come in to replace his injured South African colleague Johan Snyman in the second row. Lots of experience in the shape of John Barclay and the skipper Ken Owens. It's as you were behind, and a lot of pace on the wings, and Tanguy Thakenbaugh and Harry Robinson, and plenty of experience in the centre, the 34-year-old Regan King back in harness with the Scarlets. Well, it's going to be a very special moment. The Scarlets, I'm sure, will appreciate this, because they have a man in Phil John who's won 300 caps for the Scarlets, and here's a man with daughters Anna and Zoe clutched firmly, and they're looking pretty relaxed, the little girls. Ian Humphreys does what Craig Gilroy did a couple of weeks ago here on home turf, and that's record 100 appearances for his native Ulster. Belfast Harlequins to the Tigers, to Ulster, to London Irish, and now back with Ulster. A packed house here for what is going to be a crucial game for both of them, and the matchday mascots with Ulster skipper Roger Wilson, who was called up to the Irish squad earlier this week for a spot of international training. Just a couple of changes in the Ulster pack. Dan Toohey back in action, having had some surgery on an injured thumb. And Clive Ross starts at the open side flanker, with Roger Wilson leading the side for the 7th time this season, alongside Nick Williams in the back row. Behind the scrum, just the one change. Stuart McCluskey's red card has prompted a recall for Luke Marshall. Otherwise, it's as you were, with Ian Humphreys winning his 100th cap, playing once again outside the talented Ruan Pienaar, try scorer a week ago at Murrayfield. Referee is from Wales, following in father's footsteps. Ben Whitehouse, the 24-year-old civil servant, son of Nigel Whitehouse, and the man who refereed the Ulster game in Italy against Treviso at the start of January. So it's 2nd against 7th. Scarlets still very much harbouring thoughts of if not a knockout spot, then certainly a spot in the top 6 to guarantee themselves European Champions Cup rugby next year. And this is Stephen Shingler, younger brother of Aaron Shingler, the big fella who's in the back row. And he and Alan Davis have formed a pretty useful half-back partnership. Away we go. That's a clever kick for his forwards to chase. And nice to report that Ulster have managed to take that kick-off in and have controlled the ball. Pienaar outside his 22. Well, the wind is just holding that one up, so the Scarlets have the wind at their backs. That's knocked back on the Ulster side. Ooh, horrible pass by Van der Merwe. Gilroy. Can he get himself out of trouble?
Back feet, Reds! Use it!
Referee telling the Scarlets to get back, but Ulster have conceded about 20 metres. That seemed to touch a Scarlets player. This is Jordan Williams, who's very dangerous. Callum Black takes him round the ankles. Well, lively start this by the Scarlets, and Ulster really should have cleared a little bit better. Thumping tackle has gone in there from Ulster. Referee telling the Ulster defence to get behind the rear foot of that ruck. Georgiel taken down. Little chip by Shingler. Just had a bit of a divot there on this rather uneven surface. And here's Humphreys. Off the outside of the foot, and a nervy start by Ulster.
Yeah, not a great exit from that kick-off for a seat, and just showing the strength of that wind that's going to have a huge impact on this game. Tactical kicking, crucial, and utilising that wind to good effect in both halves.
First line out, and it's going to be thrown in by the Scottish skipper. Ken Owens, capped 26 times for Wales. That's taken by Shingler at the back. Alan Davis, Stephen Shingler. Scottish trying to get the ball away quickly. This is the danger man, Regan King. Capped once by New Zealand a long, long time ago, 2002 if I'm not mistaken, probably worthy of more. Just back from a spell in France, may well end his playing career in Llanelli. Aaron Shingler takes it on again. Alan Davis. The young second row forward, Lewis Rawlings, making just his second league start. That's a clever kick for Harry Robinson to chase. And Ian Humphreys kept his eye on it. Had that kicked up, Ulster could have been in trouble. So all the pressure coming from the Scarlets, as we probably expected.
Yeah, wind at their backs, you'd expect the majority of this half to be played deep inside Ulster's territory. And the Scarlets, a team, if they can get that offloading game going, very dangerous. Like to play with a lot of width and pace, and that opportunity there, looking to go to the air.
Callum Black passing on instructions to Rob Herring. Straightforward stuff. Herring to his fellow South African, Van der Merwe. Herring capped once for Ireland, Van der Merwe once for South Africa. Pienaar 80 caps for South Africa. He's given that plenty of height again, and the wind is hanging and hold it up. Roger Wilson underneath, that's gone loose.
Knock on first.
Knocked on by the Scarlets. First scrum of the evening to Ulster. 3 minutes gone, no score.
Yeah, Ruan Pienaar's kicking ability, particularly into that wind, it's certainly going to sit up there, and making those kicks contestable will certainly be what they're hoping to do. And on that occasion, some good obstruction run by Roger Wilson. Gets, if you're kicking with that into that wind, if you can claim that space where the ball's going to land as it blows back, it makes it difficult for the player coming forward to get up in the air, and well positioned by Roger Wilson.
Ben Whitehouse having a little glance at his assistant on the near side. More or less indicating to me like him to keep an eye on what's going on this near side of the scrum. There's Chris Henry, who we are hoping to see in an Ulster jersey before the end of this season. Bit untidy on the Ulster tight head side. Vian Herbst up against the 33-year-old Phil John.
And a slip from White. Come a little bit closer, lads. Maybe we were a little bit too far away.
Yeah, the pitch, whilst it looks great from the commentary position, and also on the pitch, you're really starting to dig up a bit underfoot, and can be soft. Some of the players saying the last couple of weeks a little bit soft underfoot. Ulster
3 pounds a man heavier. The average weight of the Ulster pack has actually decreased considerably in the last couple of weeks.
Bind. Set.
Here we go again. That's better. Good shove by Ulster on their own put-in. Well, that's a good bit of work by the Ulster front row. Scarlets under pressure, and that's a big psychological blow for Ulster. Pinned close to their 22 on the first scrum, and the Scarlets creaked. What a good scrum that was.
Yeah, outstanding stuff, and particularly early on in a game, if you can assert just that dominance in that set piece, it creates that platform. And when you're playing into such a strong wind, the luxury of being able to clear your own half from penalties that come from set piece, something Ulster, I'm sure, are enjoying as they enter the Scarlets half.
Well, he struck that nicely, Ruan Pienaar.
Don't move off that line.
Brendan Cunningham, Ulster team manager, standing, giving the posh seats to, from the right, Johnny Bell, Neil Doak and Alan Clark. Well, they've started early, the old band. Keep it going, chaps. Let's hope the men in white give you something to play about. Van der Merwe calls it to himself. Pienaar. Humphreys. Cave has a go. He's right through. Wonderful by Cave. He needs a bit of help. Well, that's touched the Scarlets' hand, and that's bounced back awkwardly, and Tanguy Thackenboy gathers it. But what a break by Cave, who's been in splendid line-breaking form this season. Well, that's given the crowd something to get on their feet about.
Hold. Use it!
But while they're applauding Darren Cave, the Scarlets have regained possession. Charged down by Pienaar. One on the ground by Van der Merwe. Pienaar wide to Louis Ludic. That's good straightening by Luna. Great appreciation. Wonderful pass by Pienaar. Humphreys. Miss move. It's Marshall's got away. Wearing an unfamiliar helmet. Here's Van der Merwe. Nice passage of play by the men in white. Having weathered 4 or 5 minutes of Scarlet's pressure, it's all Ulster at the moment. Here's Williams. Quick release. Humphreys. Michael Allen, score of a couple of weeks ago. Out they go to Ludic. Has to give it. Cave was outside him. Overcome the Scarlets. Taken on by Vian Herbst, Ulster's tight head prop. Patience is the key word here for Ulster. Humphreys back inside to Gilroy off his wing. Van der Merwe again in the middle of it. Again a good pass. Now Ludic runs into a couple of red shirts. Pienaar. Van der Merwe, big thump. Still there for Ulster. Now Humphreys. That was a mess. Well, that's gone loose, and they're going to have to be quick, and Gilroy is quick. Don't think he needs anybody to support him. The Scarlets not really chasing with any great venom. Gather that inside his 22, hasn't found his touch. Jordan Williams, who's very dangerous. As you can see, where's this going to bounce? It could bounce for the Scarlets, it hasn't. Well, Ulster doing their best to throw a try-scoring chance into a try-conceding chance.
Well, in these conditions, Ulster making the most of it and using the full width of that pitch. Number of clean line breaks. Started off by Darren Cave from the set piece, and then Ulster doing everything they can to breach that Scarlets defence, but some desperate cover defence.
Well, Vian Herbst, I don't think saw that one coming. It was behind him as it was, and the Scarlets burst out. And Jordan Williams, who scored 9 league tries, thought he might well have been in for his 10th, and Ulster under an awful lot of pressure, having got down into what they call the red zone, the Scarlets 22.
And Ulster be very disappointed after concerted pressure and possession inside the Scarlets 22 to be standing now and faced with a set piece inside their own 22. Just shows you the turnover with the wind at their back. Very easy to get back down into opposition territory.
Ulster, I think, have got the scrummage.
Go for him. Push you. Seconds.
Step up to the mark. That good.
Seconds. Yeah.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Ulster's front row of Black Herring and Herbst playing together for the 3rd game in the trot. It's gone down in the far side.
It's down. It's just a slip away.
Ben Whitehouse adjudicating, or perhaps was adjudicated for by the assistant on the far side. There was just a slip. The pitch cutting up a little bit here.
I can see.
Hasn't been any real rain today, but it's a bit of a mess. Next Thursday, incidentally, the Irish Six Nations squad will be coming to Belfast. We'll be doing a public session here on this very pitch. Big weekend of local sport. This game tonight, the Carl Frampton, the Odyssey tomorrow night, and the small matter of Ireland against England in Dublin on Sunday afternoon.
Bind. Set.
Peter Edwards from the near side of the Scarlet scrum. That's good scrummaging by Callum Black, who seems to have got the measure of the bigger man. Here goes Williams. He's got Gilroy outside him. Williams sets off at a bit of a lick, and he's still going. Needs to release. There's a Scarlet's man on the way, surely. Oh, it's gone against Williams. And this is very kickable with the wind behind them.
Yeah, James Davies really developing into a quality open side. Huge work rate around the pitch, and Easy to see why Nick Williams has become such a fan's favourite. All action, ball in one hand, charging down the sideline, and then Ulster just failed to get in position to clear opposition. You see James Davies getting in position early, on his feet, rights to the ball, and unable to dislodge it.
Yeah, Williams might have been expected just to push his ball holding hand back, try to set it up. And this has given the Scarlets the chance. And Ulster were very close to scoring the opening try, but this is a very kickable because there is a fairly stiffish breeze which is blowing into the back of the man attempting this kick, and that's Stephen Shingler.
Let me deal with it. Don't you change anything.
Phil John is having a word with the referee about something illegal in the Ulster scrummaging, he thinks. Got underneath that, but it's not going to come in, and a bit of a let-off for Ulster, who had the Scarlets line in their sights and then took their eye off the line and the ball, as it turned out.
Yeah, the Scarlets will be aware with this wind at their back they do need to bank some points, and when you're playing with the wind at your back, the pressure can sometimes get on you if you're not getting those points on the board early. As you know, turning around at half-time, you've got that battle playing into it.
Left-footed kicker Ian Humphreys, so he's going to his right. That's a good start, but it's well taken in by big Aaron Shingler, the Welsh international. Brother Stephen. Owen's the captain across the Ulster 10-metre line. Alan Davis, Shingler Jr. Ulster have got themselves offside, and the referee's given a penalty.
You've got to retreat back.
Well, 15 penalties Ulster conceded a week ago at Murrayfield. They've conceded 2 here so far.
Yeah, fortuitous last week that Heathcote wasn't slotting the points and making that scoreboard tick over. They've already missed one opportunity. Expect the Scarlets to try and punish Ulster on this occasion.
Regan King got the ball away. Ulster up quickly. Michael Allen had come in field.
Yeah, that line speed is a key ingredient in Ulster's defensive patterns, always looking to get up quickly. Scarlets have that ability to recycle that quick ball, and in doing so it makes it more difficult to get that defensive line set. On that occasion, just the error overstepping the mark.
Well, he missed from a little bit further out and from the other side of the field. This is not quite straight, just a little bit to the right of the Ulster posts. Also, we'll be hoping that Stephen Shingler is about as accurate as Tom Heathcote was for Edinburgh a week ago. Somehow I think that's not going to be the case. That's a good kick. Missed with the first one, and Ulster find themselves 3 points adrift. We played over 13 minutes. Ulster 0 and Scarlets 3.
And the Scarlets now kick off for a seat, looking for that security of possession, and then you would expect to kick early in those phases. No point going through a number of phases when you've got that wind advantage. Maybe a couple to try and bring the open side wings up into a defensive position and create some more space to hit the turf.
Humphreys has put that fairly long. Good chase by Craig Gilroy. And Ulster get the penalty. That really was a great piece of work by the informed Craig Gilroy. And hanging on the tackle was the man who took the ball in. And it was George Earl, the South African, the 28-year-old. And Ruan Pienaar has indicated straight away that he liked the chance to level this game. It was Barkley, in fact, took it in. But what a chase that was by Craig Gilroy.
Yeah, outstanding. The ball setting up a little bit into the wind and doing very well to get there. And once that player's on the ground, that gives your support players the opportunity to get over the ball and, in doing so, claim that penalty.
So Ruan Pienaar, who at one stage looked as if he was going to get all of Ulster's points last week in Murrayfield. That's okay. The ball had fallen over and he hadn't started his run up, so he can get it replaced. Are they going to use a a placer. Rob Herring was lining up to put his finger on it to steady it, but Pienaar's happy enough, it seems. That's the target. Ooh, and he scuffed that one quite badly. I think that little fall over just maybe upset him slightly. So it remains Ulster 0, Scarlets 3. Quarter of an hour gone.
Yeah, disconcerting when that ball falls off and you're aware that the time's ticking away and probably have to rush the routine a little bit, but the contact just not there on strike, and a let off for the Scarlets.
Well, there's the strength of that wind in the Ulster faces. Humphreys judged that pretty nicely. Oh, knocked back on the Ulster side. Maybe a wee nudge forward there by the Scarlets. Not so. Yes, there was.
Knock on.
Ulster will get the scrums. That's worked out not too badly at all for Ulster.
Yeah, particularly given the fact that they're dominating scrum time. Should be able to manufacture a shoulder here, and the backs will be looking for some sort of strike move. Good position to be in. Enough of a blindside to attract some interest. Scarlets may have to look at splitting their defensive pattern, and sure Ulster will be looking for one of their strike moves.
Well, Ian Humphreys put just exactly the right amount of weight in that kick.
Good, thank you.
Scarlets missing the regular tight head Samson Lee to international duty this weekend.
Point. Set. Hold.
It's another good-looking Ulster scrum. Williams on the narrow side. Pienaar switches direction. Humphreys. Darren Cave. Michael Allen. Not a bad little kick, but there's nobody all that close, taking over his own goal line and kept in field by Jordan Williams. Nicely done, but he had the wind behind him. Now it's Luke Marshall with the headgear on. That might not be a bad effort. He's going to chase it. Well taken by Tanguy Thakenbau. And Marshall sensibly left him alone. Tanguy Thakenbau gets it away. And Jordan Williams gives it a good wallop. Down just as far as Louis Ludick. Now Pienaar looking for a bit of open space. Harry Robinson. Pienaar again. Gets it to Ludick, who will have a go. Pienaar. Callum Black. Good leg drive from the Ulster prop. Now it's Humphreys. Roger Wilson, Ulster's captain. The tackle was by George Earl. Another penalty given against Ulster at the breakdown. And this is Edinburgh all over again.
Isolated, please release the ball quicker.
Well, the referee said isolated there, and that's been the problem. You send a one-off ball runner into three defenders without any support players. There's only going to be one outcome, and one outcome there was. Penalty to the Scarlets. Opportunity to establish that field position again. Look to function off that line out.
Shingler off the outside of the foot, but with the wind behind him, it's taken him and the Scarlets into Ulster's 22. 18 minutes gone, just the one score between them. Ulster nearest with the try-scoring chance, although there was a kick and chase by the Scarlets, which might have yielded something. There was that good scrummage. And nicely done, and Michael Allen put maybe a wee bit too much on it, but the intent was absolutely spot on. And another penalty against Ulster. That's penalty number 4. And Ulster's penalty count is even at this stage of the game bordering on the unacceptable.
Posts.
Yeah, and a variety of penalties as well. A couple at the breakdown.
Like I don't want to hear that thing.
The breakdown, it's always going to be difficult depending on interpretation, whether you can get support players there, but those sort of penalties where there's no reason to give them away, they're soft penalties, and soft penalties that can potentially turn into points on the scoreboard are the worst kind.
Well, Ulster need just to discipline themselves. Looks easy from there. And he's missed that one. Well, what is it they say? The curse of the commentator. So that's 1 out of 3 for Stephen Shingler, and Ulster will be mighty relieved because that rather facile penalty should have been punished.
Yeah, and Shingler will be disappointed. He's been playing particularly well in recent weeks, really maturing into a very good all-round kicker, and you can see his frustrations there at that attempt.
Into the second quarter of this game, and Ulster trailing. Now they will have the advantage of a strongish wind behind them in the second half, but they won't want to go further adrift than 3 points at the moment. Restart kick by Humphreys. Earls leaves it for Shingler.
It's a good steal, no problem.
Ulster have stolen that on the ground. You hear the referee say a good steal. Clive Ross tries to straighten, gets away from the first tackler. Pienaar. Vian Herbst, Ulster's tight head. Good defending by the Scarlets. Pienaar forced into kicking. And not a bad kick at that. Well covered back by Jordan Williams.
Hold, forward, come back.
Pienaar covering. Gilroy outside him. There's the kick again for Gilroy to chase, and he's chasing at a huge rate of knots. Alan Davis well tackled. That's gone forward. Referee playing advantage to Ulster, but none is coming, and they will get the scrum. So the big plus about Ulster this evening, Ryan, is what they call the kick chase game.
Yeah, you usually wouldn't see a team winning a kicking battle when they're kicking into the wind, but as you say, the kick chase has been the difference. Real urgency from Ulster in that department. Gilroy and Luddick on that occasion doing the chasing, and they've got a real weapon in Ruan Pienaar's kicking ability, and when you couple that with an effective chase, it does put pressure. Scarlets, huge counter-attacking ability in their back three, and I'm sure it's been a focus of Ulster to nullify that with an effective kick chase.
Well, in the last 2 games, which have brought victories for Ulster, they've moved from 5th in the table up to 2nd. They still need a result or 2 to go their way.
Point. Set.
Again, it's collapsed, but nothing illegal.
Yep, I cover the side.
Referee Ben Whitehouse had a good look at his assistant on the far side, who was happy enough that it was just a slip. But he has moved over to the Ulster tight head side just to see what may be going on. Bit of churning up there, so he's brought them closer to the touchline, which probably takes away from Ulster's blind side options.
The same wherever I'm standing, gentlemen. These boys are watching as well. Please sort it out.
Well, he's telling the veteran Scarlets prop Phil John and Vian Herbst to sort it out among themselves.
Come closer.
Yeah, very interesting alignment from Ulster at this stage, waiting for that scrum to set. There's 3 players in a line behind that scrum, just deciding, depending on which way the scrum goes, what options they're going to take, and Scarlets will have to be alert defensively.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
That's gone down on the Ulster loose head side, but the referee's happy enough. Williams, Pienaar, Marshall, Pienaar. That looked like it was forward, and the referee, I think, is going to come back for a penalty at the scrummage.
Red 3.
And it's going to be against Peter Edwards, who went down on his knees, and that's given Ulster the chance to level this game.
Post.
Of course, he can't put the ball into the scrummage until the front rows are set. And apologies to Paul Marshall last week at Edinburgh, whom I thought was delaying a wee bit. In fact, he was waiting until the referee told him to put the ball in. So sorry about that, wee man. And thanks for the text reminding me of the finer points of law later on in the evening. Much appreciated, as always.
Yeah, real opportunity now for Ulster to level the score, and they'll be pretty satisfied at this stage in the game, playing into this sort of a wind, if they can level the scores, and the Scarlets will be increasingly frustrated at their inability to convert that possession and indeed territory into something meaningful on the scoreboard.
That sounds good from the kick, and up go the flag. That's a much better strike by Ruan Pienaar. So it's 1 out of 2 for Ruan Pienaar, and from an Ulster perspective, well, it's not a bad kick, because with nearly 25 minutes gone, it's on as even, 3 apiece.
Yeah, and the focus for Ulster now shifts to this kick-off receipt. Vitally important. It'll determine where the game's played in this next stanza, and if they can secure this from the kick-off, that'll give them the upper hand.
Van der Merwe takes. Nick Williams goes into support. George Earl climbing all over it. Pienaar is the inside of 22. He's given that a fair old thump, and who's going to chase it? Jordan Williams takes. John Barkley nearly gets away. Luke Marshall with the tackle. Ulster getting in quickly to the breakdown. Shingler moves it wide. Oh, that's nicely taken by Regan King. Away to Michael Tangi Thakenbau, the Fijian international. Good response. Good work by Ulster. Good steal. As Louis Ludick took it into contact. Pienaar taking into the 22, but Ian Humphries has put in a very good kick. Jordan Williams waits. Now, will he run or will he kick? He's going to kick. That's coming down outside the 22. That's a good one. Well taken by Ludick, who gets back into his 22. So Ulster can clear from here. Although he was carried back in, and Ulster get the penalty.
1-2, straight off your feet.
Taken quickly by Pienaar. Needs a bit of help. Gets it from Nick Williams, who spirals out of the first two tackles and then throws a grubby pass away.
It's open play! Open play!
I think Ulster won that one on the ground, but they're living very dangerously.
It's open play. No
and
issue.
Nick Williams puts his hand in his head as if to say, composure, composure.
Yeah, on those turnovers, normally you would kick the ball immediately, but when you're playing into such a wind, electing to keep that ball in hand, and finding Nick Williams does very well to break the first couple of tackles, and then just a bit over-ambitious on the offload. It then became open play, and Ulster did well to actually control that ball after that.
He was pirouetted around 2 or 3 tackles like a heavyweight Craig Gilroy. There's Chris Henry on the field doing the bit with the water. How encouraging it is to have Chris Henry back in the squad. We hear he's training really well, and as we mentioned earlier, has serious ambitions about a return to Ulster colours some stage before the end of the season.
Props up, yeah? Time on. Let's come closer. Yep.
26 minutes gone. Honours even. What a start to the season in September sunlight at Parky Scarlets. 32 apiece, 4 tries apiece. So everybody got 3 points from that, or both sides got 3 points from that. And 3 points away from home for Ulster was nearly as good as a win.
Bind. Set.
Good solid Ulster scrum. Down they go. Referee happy enough, and he's not happy. Changed his mind. Now, why would he penalise Ulster for that? Why
You've
would
got to
it?
stay up, White. From the side, you've got to stay up.
Well, I don't
For
understand
his
that.
side, not for yours.
Yeah, the ball was back. You thought that would have been played out, but did penalise the Scarlets for going down on one knee before, and in these difficult conditions underfoot. I suppose one thing you can say is there's consistency in the interpretation, but that was well won, and at the back you thought that would have gone.
Now, Vian Herbst, he's gone down on one knee. He's gone down on one knee, and that is illegal. And Aaron Shingler calling the assistant on the near side or the far side's attention to that. Not sure the surface at Ravenhill is actually helping anybody in terms of the scrummaging. It's cutting up very badly. There's not much in the way of purchase there. Or prompted change of studs at half-time, who knows? This the easiest kick so far for Shingler. And his little magic tee is having problems as well. Swansea born Stephen Shingler went on the Welsh tour to South Africa last summer, but didn't make the match day squad. That's another good kick by Shingler. So 2 out of 4 for him, and the Scarlets go back into the lead, albeit by 3 points, coming up to the half-hour mark, and Ulster 3 and Scarlets 6.
Yeah, a lot of kicking from both teams, and quite a high error count, and a number of penalties have robbed the game of any real entertainment value or continuity, and you're just waiting for one of the teams to get into that rhythm. Both capable of playing very attacking, attractive rugby, but not a huge amount to show for it thus far.
Humphries taken in by the Scottish international John Barkley, who's managed to lose it. Well, venturous stuff this from the Scarlets. And that's going to give Ulster the line and good midfield pressure from Ulster. Clive Ross and Roger Wilson were out there very quickly. And that was Hadley Parks, another New Zealander, the 27-year-old who's had spells with the Blues and the Hurricanes and the Southern Kings. Got it away. This is Ulster's best chance for, well, coming up, best positional chance for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, their opportunity from the line-out. Conversation going on in the back line as to what move is going to be called after this. Haven't seen Ulster use that rolling ball, which has proved very successful in this season.
Back on Tidley, Van der Merwe managed to grab it. He in turn is grabbed by Barclay. Pienaar, now to Williams. Penalty against the Scarlets. James Davis penalised, just being a little bit too exuberant, the youngster.
Captain in 7. Okay. This one, no, he didn't gather it in the tackle. He had his hands in it, then fell to the floor, and then continued to play it whilst he was on the floor, okay? Penalty counter on this when Whites are going forward, now is too much. Please sort it out, okay?
Well, Ken Owens told, I think in no uncertain fashion by Ben Whitehouse, that any similar infringements will result maybe in a card.
Off, so
James Davis, like every good open side in the business, lives right on the edge, as they say.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries, it's in their nature, and Scarlets will be frustrated every time they get 3 points and get a glimpse of moving ahead. They give away a penalty, and Ulster the opportunity to square that score.
We'll have a chat next stoppage.
Well, it's all gone quiet around Waveney. Fantastic that it's over 18,000 people here. This game, a complete sellout. And the way things are going, the next home game in a few weeks' time against another Welsh side, the Cardiff Blues, will be something similar. Ulster's next game on Sunday week against the Newport Gwent Dragons. Straight and true once again by Ruan Pienaar. So 2 out of 3 for him. And we're back to level pegging. If it stays like this by the end of it, Ulster will not be too unhappy, but they probably would like something extra. They'd like to turn around with their noses in front, I'm sure.
Yeah, when you consider the strength of the wind, number of points in it, Ulster experience coming home with it at their backs, and as long as they can keep that scoreboard close to what we see now, I think they'll be pretty happy with their first half.
Shingler went long. Pienaar didn't find touch. Barclay with Shingler outside him. And the 43-time Scots international makes a bit of ground. Shingler gets it away to Michael Tadji-Thakamba, who's very quick. Slipped inside the Ulster defence there momentarily. Ulster mustn't give away any more silly penalties. Shingler is to the big brother, who's made good ground. Very underrated player, I've always thought, Aaron Shingler. Only 8 Welsh caps to his name. Jordan Williams.
Hands out, eight.
Well tackled by Dan Toohey. Alan Davis, that slowed down a little bit. Out come Ulster quickly. Good stuff in there by Darren Cave.
It's advantage red for a knock-on.
Harry Robinson stands and watches, but knocked on by
he beat the rock.
Ulster in the tackle, and it's going to be a Scarlet scrummage.
There's some excellent pressure from Darren Cave. Little overlap developing there for the Scarlets, but that closed-door defence where Darren Cave gets ahead of the curve, and you throw that miss pass trying to get it out wide quicker, and that just invites Darren Cave to effect that tackle. A little knock-on in the tackle, but things were developing nicely there for the Scarlets prior to that intervention.
Aaron Shingler, the man who picked it up. Good work at the breakdown by George Earl.
Let's see those knuckles up on top.
It's the first time I've heard a referee say, let's see those knuckles up on top. He means, obviously, the back of the hand must be turned upward, and the requirement is to bind on the jersey and not the arm. And there's no pulling down, there's no dipping of the elbow through 90 degrees towards the ground, which will incur a penalty. Alan Davis just delaying the put in. Good squeeze by Ulster. Pienaar through. But the Scarlets have it. Here's Tadji-Thakamba, or Tangi-Thakamba, I should say. Tackle was by Gilroy. Alan Davis. George Earl. Came on as an early replacement a week ago for the Scarlets. Nice little slip pass and good bit of sidestepping there. Scarlets still going, Ulster right over the top. They'll be lucky to get away with that, and they have. Charged on into Scarlets' hands, nothing wrong with that. Still there for the Scarlets. Crowd blowing, but perfectly legal. That looked forward. Ulster working hard at the breakdown. Rawlings takes it on.
You're off your feet.
Alec Davis, Jordan Williams, Regan King. Nearly got away from Luke Marshall. Shingler, John Barclay.
Come away, White.
Shingler, patient build-up. George Earl again into Roger Wilson. Good work by Ulster's captain. It's all slowed down. Not much in the way of room on the far side. Pienaar has to chase and will just shepherd it into touch. 5 minutes remaining, but Ulster under a little bit of pressure here.
Yeah, Scarlets' first time they've really been able to go through a number of phases, some good ball security, but frustrated by the Ulster defence and ultimately looking for the option to kick through, try and pressurise this line out and try and create and build that pressure to try and convert that into some points, which ultimately have eluded them as they're approaching half-time.
Red one. It's not my fault. I'm not the groundsman.
I think Phil John complaining about the pitch and the referee saying, I'm not the groundsman. Nice bit of repartee there from Mr. Whitehouse. Well won at the Ulster line-out. Clive Ross leaves it for Pienaar. He's kept that infield. Tanguy Thackenboy gathers. Strong run by the Fijian. Alec Davis, Stephen Shingler, Jordan Williams. Little miss move to Harry Robinson, formerly of Cardiff Blues. Very quick. Shingler, Stephen at scrum half. Alec Davis at outside half. Ken Owens, the captain. Clive Ross with the tackle. Ulster told to get the hands out of it. Alec Davis to nobody in particular, but here's Jordan Williams. That's gone loose. Snaffled, I think, by Ulster on the ground.
Move, White.
And re-snaffled by the Scarlets. Gathered by Michael Allen. They'll certainly have a go. Decided not to pass, which was the right option. Pienaar. Van der Merwe tries to run outside Edwards, but runs into a bit of trouble, but Ulster have it. Pienaar, that's better stuff. Now Humphreys. Could do with giving that. That's an awful pass by Humphreys. And on the occasion of his 100th cap, he's given a gift-wrapped try to John Barclay. Well, just what Ulster didn't need, and just I'm quite sure what Ian Humphreys didn't need on this very evening, special evening for him.
The Scarlets will be really relieved to have got some points on the board finally, and wasn't through a well-manufactured move. Just getting into those open spaces, and just as he's hit there, well read by Barclay, and exceptional hands to pick that up on the run, and goes through without any issues there. But it was low, it was a magnificent pickup. Gilroy looking to take that pass with some open space, and Barclay poaching that one out of the air.
Well, they won't come any easier for the Scottish international. That's his 5th league try for the Scarlets. Well, Pat's all round, but they don't come easier than that, you have to say, but he did take it well. And Shingler adds the conversion. So having got themselves back to 6 apiece, Ulster now find themselves 7 points adrift. Just a couple of minutes to go to the interval, and the Scarlets leading by 13 points to 6.
Yeah, no need for Ulster to panic. They know they'll have the wind at their backs in the second half, but they'll want a clinical finish to the last couple of minutes that remain. Long kick potentially, and play the rest of this half out inside Scarlets territory.
John Barclay, born in Hong Kong some 28 years ago, will be pleased with that one. Taken in by George Earl. There was a bit of accidental offside there by the Scarlets at the restart. The man who took the ball in ran into one of his own players, and that's going to give Ulster the scrum, and they want to try to strike from here, Ryan.
Yeah, Barclay protesting that he may have ran into him, but didn't feel there was anyone from Ulster who was there to affect the tackle, and was therefore impeded. But it's a scrum for Ulster. They've dominated this facet of play, and Scarlets acknowledging that, have sent a player down the blind side, still susceptible given Ruan Pinar's pace and Nick Williams' offloading ability down that small channel.
Okay.
Well, into the final minute of this first half.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Well controlled Ulster scrum. Williams looking to go on the narrow side. Gets it to Pinar. Ludic. Mismove to Gilroy. But he's come in field. Good collision there by Williams. Franco van der Merwe, Ulster's second row. Pinar again. Rob Herring.
Time off. It's against White.
Oh, referee's called a time off.
It's against White.
Stephen Schindler has got himself thumped, and there's a penalty is going to come against an Ulster player for maybe something off the ball.
Okay.
The touch judge on the far side, I think, has got his flag out, and the medical assistant is saying, "Go." Well, let's hear what's being said. This could be interesting.
Come on, chat now. Take your team back, right? Just come on. Come away from me.
At the last ruck,
Yeah.
as the ball is being played,
Yeah.
White 8
Yeah.
has come in directly with the shoulder
Okay.
onto the shoulder of the 8, directly using his shoulder.
Okay, so a shoulder charge into the ruck.
Yes.
Correct. After the ball's gone away.
As the ball is
As the ball is going away. Okay. Your recommendation?
yellow card.
Yellow card against White 8.
Nick
Correct?
Williams is going to
Okay,
go to the
White
bin.
8. Yeah. Do you want to see it?
Well, he came in with the shoulder on his shoulder. I'm not sure whether that's an
Marshall's
offence or
Ben,
not.
can you hear me?
But the referee, Ben White, has
can we just have a look at that last ruck,
asked to
please?
see it, just
Okay,
to make
we'll
up
have
his
a look.
own mind about that. So we'll have to wait until he decides, having seen the incident. But also really, at 13 points to 6 down as half-time approaches, don't need to be spending the first 10 minutes of the second half with 14 men.
The recommendation was for a yellow card, but given what's at stake and the implications of a yellow card, referee looked as though he was right in front of that, looked fairly innocuous.
Yeah, I just think that Nick Williams was actually clearing out. He wasn't making a tackle, he was clearing out the man. It was hard, but it looked fair to me, and Schindler wobbled a little bit. Well, we'll have to have a look at that. If the referee has a look at that, he may actually decide there was nothing much wrong with that. The recommendation from the assistant is a yellow card, and what did Williams there do there? That was illegal.
Okay, Ben, okay.
Well, he's gone upstairs, I think, to the TMO Marshall Kilgore, who was playing in the replays. He may well have another look at it. Here it is again, Ryan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I can't imagine it's going to warrant a yellow
Ben,
card.
that's it.
Thank you very much. From what I'm seeing, I'm going to go for just a penalty, okay?
Well, he's not going to send Nick Williams off. He's just going to give a penalty, but there's not going to be a yellow
Just
card.
a penalty against White 8. White 8. It's a shoulder charge. We've got
Well,
to make an
I have
effort
to say, I thought it was a fairly
Back
physical
up.
game, and if you can't clear a man out with your shoulder, what can you clear him out with? You can't clear him out with
Time
your
back
head
on, yeah,
or your
correct.
fingertips.
Yeah, it's after.
Probably
2 seconds.
thinking that
Can I
the
just have a
player had to
time
make an
check,
effort to
Marshall?
bind as he came in there, and
Time
Ulster
over,
fans
kick
think
out.
that even a penalty is harsh, but thankfully not compounded by a poor decision for a yellow, and that'll be the end of this half.
Well, the boos for the penalty, but at least Ulster will start the second half with 15 men, having played the first half with 15 men and not played particularly well. The error count a little bit on the high side, coming up to the half-dozen penalties. John Barkley, the recipient of a gift wrap pass from Ian Humphreys, the scorer of the only try. Rest of the points from the visitors coming from the boot of Stephen Schindler. Ulster's points coming from the boot of Ruan Pinar. So a lot of thinking to do. Ulster will have the wind in their backs, but they really need to be thinking about winning this game. They've got to get their discipline right, and they've got to give this crowd something to cheer a little bit about. So there we are. A lot of talking points, I'm sure, at the interval. Ulster trailing by 7 points at half-time. It's Ulster 6 and the Clonethy Scarlets 13.
Well, these two teams know each other very well. It's the 4th time they've met this season. Andy Ward and Maurice Field have been digesting that first half with me. And gentlemen, not a classic.
Not a classic by any great measure is right. But you know what? It's just Clonetherley have fired no shots whatsoever. Ulster, anything they've got, Ulster have given it to them. So it's a pretty poor sort of show from where Ulster's sitting, if that's what's on table for me at the minute anyway.
It is. We talked at the top of the show that, you know, they've won ugly. That was ugly. That has been the worst 40 minutes of rugby I've seen Ulster perform. They were inaccurate. They gave away too many penalties. And their decision making at times, you just have to question what is going through their thought patterns now. I know Neil Doak very, very well, and I would say there's an Alex Ferguson moment going on in that changing room at the present moment.
I mean, surely the Ulster management team, as Morris says, Andy, cannot be happy with that first half performance, especially after the way they've been playing. They wanted to come out tonight and show a little bit more of what they've got.
Very much so. You know, they just seem to be at ones and twos. They don't seem to be playing as a team or as a collective unit, be it the forwards, the back row. I haven't seen the back row in the same 10 metres of the pitch at any one time for 40 minutes. You know, so the little mini units aren't seem to be linking and connecting. It just doesn't seem to be this tightness in here, and you know, we're just giving away silly penalties yet again.
It's to me, it's disjointed. I mean, there's individual performances going in. The scrum is solid. They've been winning the scrum. You see, Nick Williams makes a break there. Again, there's nobody there. Craig Gilroy, the closest man, needs to be in on the ball. We know what Nick Williams is going to do.
But it's our effectiveness when we get to these breakdowns
Roger
as well.
Wilson.
Roger Wilson's direct. Where's my back row? There's the back row. Too late. You're 5 steps far too far off the pace here. This is clinical. We've got to get into these games. We know what's happening. This is a man. This man here runs. His first option is to offload, not to go to ground. He likes to play in front of him. So why is the Ulster players on his shirt tails expecting that pass? Now, admittedly, it wasn't probably the best of his offloading ability examples, but what he does do is look for that offload. You've got to be on his shoulder looking for that, because that boy is dangerous. That's what he does.
To me, I'm watching an Ulster team out there that are playing from the training paddock. They're playing planned moves, they're playing game plans. You've got to play what's in front of you. You've got to play. You've got to support the ball. You know that Nick Williams is going to throw this ball around and offload. So what you do is he's the point, the focal point, and you get supporters either side of him. And that's when Ulster are playing very well. That's what they're doing. At the minute, it's disjointed, it's slow, it's almost just not accurate.
It's almost like we have to go to ground because that's what we do when we train. We go to ground, we develop a rack and play. We're not playing, as you say, we're not playing this heads up. Let's play what's in front of us. Let's go out here to play rugby, because that's what we've come to watch.
And I think the balance is wrong, because if you look at the Scarlets back row, they've got Barkley, they've got Schindler, they've got James Davis. James Davis, brother playing in the centre for Wales. He's on the ball. To me, Clive Ross on open side just isn't quick enough to counteract that, and James Davis is playing a bit like Phil Wise, that really low squat on the ground, and he's there within seconds.
Ulster's best play came in the first sort of 10 minutes of the game and created some quite good play briefly, albeit.
Yeah, but once again, through it, you know, we're building stuff. It's fantastic. Darren Kay was on fire just here, got caught 2 minds, and then it was almost like the ball got stuck in his hands a wee bit. But you know, those are the moments we've got to really load it up and keep these guys here, keep the pressure on. Here we go, another situation here. Play. This is a 50-50 pass. What, you know, it's just a knock-on effect of it all, and you know, we're keeping the ball and so forth. But look, we're quite slow to get to these rucks and get it away and stuff. But you're right. This is our best passage of play in the whole game. And yet again, it came to nothing.
Yeah, you know, Darren Cave coming through there. You had Darren Cave and Nick Williams attacking down the same channel, caused confusion in the defence. Which one to go for? To go with Nick Williams, to go with Darren Cave. Open the door, he was in through. I think there, unfortunately, Darren just threw the ball away. Again, it's the decision-making process in the last 5-10 metres. You've got to make the right decision at the right time, and that's what the really good teams do. We said they've been winning ugly because they haven't been making the right decisions. This is going to be a massive turnaround for this Ulster team.
Ian Humphreys will know himself last week by his own high standards. He wanted to play better tonight on his 100th cap. How do you assess his performance this evening?
Well, it's you know, it's for me, it's Ian Humphreys all over. You know, he can do some fantastic things, he can do some crazy things, and we just don't know what's going to happen at times, you know. But listen, the guy's a talented rugby player. That's not what we're just, you know, what it's all about. But he just does some things to unloose, you know. His distribution is fantastic, but at times it's horrific.
At that time there, Wardy, as a number 10, you have to assess who's around you. William Herbs was beside him. He knows Philip Herbs is not going to come in a switch with him. He just
doesn't have the gas here, he just got caught in 2 minds, and it was one of those slow motion. It got stuck in my hands. I let it go. I didn't want that to happen, sort of scenario, and it happened. And unfortunately, it just turned into a bit of a nightmare.
Morris, he's a confidence player, but this is an Ulster team which isn't really playing with any confidence. That's certainly how it looks at the moment anyway.
Yeah, I think again Ian's problem is at times he does try to force it. He tries to create it happening. He's an instinctive, reactive player, and he's got to do that. He's got to not second guess what he's doing. Just react to what's in front of you. Go do it, and let the players play off him and make the decisions.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, listen, I hope they can turn around. For me, I think they'll turn this game around because, let's face it, Glenelg have done very, very little at this point. So if Ulster can string things together, start playing and set some targets and say, let's go through this, let's do this, and get a little bit of ante into it, we have no problem with the situation. So hopefully Humps can turn his 100th cap night around.
Correct decision, do you think, just before half-time, not to give Nick Williams the yellow card?
What are these referees doing? You know, the touch judge has come in here and he says the ball's away from the rock. This is an absolutely legitimate clean-out. What are you supposed to do? Come up and play, sorry, sir. That's off. That's a perfect clean-out. There's absolutely nothing wrong, but the ball's still in the rock.
He said he came in with the shoulder count. If you can see Nick Williams' hand, it's underneath. Now, the referee's he's bailed here in this one. If he's going to give a penalty against that, then he's saying that's a yellow card offence because he's come in with the shoulder. Either he's come in with the shoulder or the arm's been offered. And if you can see Nick Williams, the arm has come through. You know, again, yes, the referees have a job to do for looking for foul play. However, that wasn't foul play. That's just it's a hard game. It's hard rocking.
You watch how the rucks are cleaned out on international level. That there was passive. Yeah. That was a passive clean out. Go to watch the Six Nations this weekend. They will be tenfold.
Okay, Andy Morris, thank you for the moment. Concussion is one of the major issues in the sport at the moment. As you've seen this evening, players are getting bigger, stronger and faster, and with that comes the apparent increased risk of injury. So this week, Ulster's medical director, Dr. Michael Webb, invited our own Gavin Andrews along to explain how head injuries are treated on a match night.
Worked really hard within the rugby community over the last 5 years to raise the awareness of the issue. Really, education is key to this because people need to understand what the injury is, what it involves, how to recognise it and how to manage it if it should happen in a game that they're involved in. Players are beginning to realise that if they get a bang to the head and they don't feel right, that it's really important they flag it.
Fair pal. You alright? No, what's happened? What's happened? What happened?
On a match night, as a medical team, we really very often aren't following the ball, but we're following collision areas. And if you see that there is a particularly big collision or a player slow to get up, we will then attend the player and be able to assess them. If they have lost consciousness, or we suspect they've lost consciousness, if they're confused, if they're unaware of their surroundings, or if clearly they're not right, we will make the diagnosis of concussion on the pitch. It's the more subtle injuries that we're trying to pick up, because the problem is, having had the initial injury, the brain is primed for re-injury, and that re-injury is then when clinical outcomes are poorer and more worrying.
Time Andrew Trimble probably best off the park. So
if, however, assessing the player on the pitch, he seems reasonably okay, we will then ask for the extra time, and that's what the head injury assessment allows and why it's been a good advance. So we bring the player in here and we have 10 minutes to run through a pretty objective set of measures, looking at their cognition, how their brain is working and how they're able to process information, their concentration, at their balance, and also to be able to assess symptoms. The important thing about concussion is that it's an evolving injury, so even though at the time of the injury they might display no signs or symptoms can develop in the minutes or even the hours after that, so it's important to be assessing and reassessing over a period of time. At the end of the day, our clinical decision making overrides any test result. So while sometimes it's appropriate for a professional player to return and play 1 week later, very often it's not, and we're able to make those calls. Yeah. The benefit that we have in the pro game is the resources that we have. Within the amateur game, not having those resources, it's important that we take a more safety first approach.
What do we know about the long-term issues surrounding concussion?
I think that's a difficult question. I think the bottom line is that we know a lot, but there's so much that we don't know. And as each year goes by, evidence is coming in and things are changing all the time. If we can look after the now, the long term will look after itself.
Well, a serious issue which is being treated with the utmost professionalism. Now looking ahead to the second half, you were right about Neil Doakey. Certainly does not look a happy man, Morris.
He's not a happy camper out there. But again, they've got to cut down their indiscipline. They've got to be more focused at the breakdown. Really, Scarlets aren't offering anything here in creative rugby whatsoever. So if they cut down their error count, if they're more accurate at them with the ball in hand, Ulster, I think, will turn this around.
On a pitch which has been cutting up in the first half. Andy, what do Ulster need to do to turn this around, and how key is the next 40 minutes looking ahead to what could happen in the coming weeks and the end of the season?
The next 40 minutes for me isn't key. The next 10 minutes is super key, because that's going to lay the platform for the remaining 30. They just got to go out and play rugby, Stephen. It's simple as that. You know, they can't just sit back and as we said earlier, go through the moves and go through the strokes. They're just going to turn up, play rugby, put the head down and go for it.
Yeah, they have to. 10 minutes. They've got to get themselves back in the game, get a score, get a penalty, get something that's going to create a wee bit of buzz, because the crowd have been really, really flat as well. They're not being entertained, and that's what they're here for. Okay,
Morris, Andy, thank you very much indeed. Sit back, enjoy this second half, and it's back to our commentary team, Ryan and Jim.
Well, this is the game that Ulster certainly had targeted. Every home win, of course, is a targeted win. Ulster have only lost once at home this season, and that was to Toulon in the European Champions Cup, and they certainly will not want to lose this game tonight. I think there's a change on the Scarlet side, taken in straight away by the Scarlets replacement, and it's the vastly experienced Rob McCusker who's come on, and I think the man who's gone off is the man who was involved with Nick Williams and Aaron Shingler. Louis Ludick gets up to halfway. Well, Williams cleans out again, nothing wrong with that one. Humphreys. Michael Allen sees half a gap. Made good ground. Pinar. Callum Black had to check a little bit. Good first up tackling by the men in red. Pinar. Humphreys. Needs to carry. Oh, it's carried nicely. And all the way back goes Jordan Williams. Pinar covers nicely. Flat pass yet again. Ludick tries to straighten. Pinar. Good switch call by Humphreys. Need to put a wee bit more on that. Harry Robinson gathers in, and he will run. In this case, not too far. I think Ulster may just have stolen that one. That's good work at the breakdown by Ulster. Pinar. Nick Williams to Wilson. Tackled by George Earl. Pinar again, better stuff from Ulster. Marshall. Ludick back inside. Plenty of white jerseys there, it would seem. Callum Black. Pinar appealing to the referee, who's having none of it. Gilroy gets away from the first tackler. Pinar looked to his right. Williams. That's what he does best, into McCusker. Pinar. Also on the front foot. Van der Merwe. Pinar quickly. Humphreys. Vian Herbst changes direction. No. Pinar. A good continuity by Ulster. There's that little floated pass. Back inside to Ludick from Cave. That's come back on the Ulster side. There's Gilroy, nothing wrong with that, except the ball has gone into touch, and the Scarlets will get the line out.
Well, the collision certainly not dissipating, and Nick Williams' appetite for the clean-out hasn't been diminished either. Some fearsome hits going in there, scrappy ball, and Ulster the ability now with the wind at their backs to establish that field position easily, and applying some pressure now on this line-out will be their own.
Well, Ulster, with the crowd now behind them, really need to put a lot of pressure on this Scarlets lineup, but they have a lot of big men in there. And losing Aaron Shingler for Rob McCusker has not taken away any height at the line-out, so it's all about technique. Well taken in by Rob McCusker, who's captained the Scarlets many times in the past. What a very good clearance kick by Alan Davis. Keeping Welsh international Gareth Davis, no relation, off the starting 15 at the moment. Bit of a confab about where the ball is going to go, and Callum Black will tell Rob Herring. Roger Wilson has detached and decides, I think, to come back in again. Interesting setup this, with Ruan Pienaar at the front of the Ulster lineout. Ross, Pienaar, Marshall, Williams on the charge. Pienaar again. Scarlets getting men back in. Well, that's an awful pass.
Knock on. It's open play, I've got to stand somewhere.
Ulster doing all the good bits and then making a hash of it.
They went straight into him.
Yeah, Ian Humphreys and Craig Gilroy complaining to the referee that he got in the way of that passage of play, and referee not able to read what Ulster are doing, and that just confused everything.
Well, you may well be right. First scrum of the second half, nearly 5 minutes gone. Score hasn't moved on at all. 6 to Ulster, 13 to the Scarlets at the interval. A couple of penalties by Ruan Pienaar.
Okay, do that. Crouch! Yeah, we're moving up. Just come closer. There we are. Keep it there, okay?
Couple of empty seats there, but it's just about capacity.
One red, good, thank you, keep it there.
Well, Ulster had the edge at this particular facet of play in the first half. Can they put on something similar here in the second? Vian Herbst, good view of him on the Ulster tight head side against the 300 times cap for the Scarlet Phil Johns. Round comes Pienaar. Barkley disrupted, but the strong Scotsman has got the ball away. Alan Davis has to dig it out, though. That'll slow everything down. Back to Steve Shingler. That might work out too badly, but it has for Craig Gilroy. Good work by Gilroy. Here goes Gilroy. Hand off by Gilroy. Try by Gilroy. Unbelievable by Gilroy. You won't see a better solo try all season on this or any other ground, in this or any other competition. What a belter by Gilroy.
It's another one of those Gilroy wonder tries. Every season he produces something that is just a delight to behold, and good pressure from the kick, and that created the poor kick, and then just a little bit of time and space, but defenders everywhere. He beats one, sidesteps another, pace to go over in the corner, and just an outstanding individual finish. Just magic feet, pace, power, everything you want to see from a predator on the wing.
Well, what a finish. What strength to get to the line. Managed to keep his balance, and over he went, and they're still cheering him. No wonder. Celebrated his 100th Ulster appearance a couple of weeks ago with 2 tries against Treviso. 2 weeks on, he's got another one. It's try number 23 in this league for the Irish international. That's just not coming in enough. So the Scarlets stay in the lead, but Ulster have pegged them back. Only 2 points between them with 7 minutes of this second half gone. What a score by Craig Gilroy. That was one of the tries of the season.
Yeah, he's just got that ability to step without losing any pace, and little hitch kick, the spin when he needs it in heavy traffic, the fend when that's required, and that blistering pace off the mark, all combined to create tries like that.
It's a good restart kick by Stephen Shingler, well taken in by Dan Toohey, who's had an awful season in terms of injury. Broke his arm for the second time back in the early part of the season, missed the autumn internationals, and just when he looked like he was getting back to form, he had a nasty thumb injury which required a bit of surgery, and having missed 4 games in a row, here he is back again for just his 10th start of the season. The Scarlets penalised for collapsing the maul which was set up following Ulster's receipt of the restart kick. Pienaar with a strong breeze behind him, but there's not much of an angle. Well, he's made a very decent bit of ground, and it's an Ulster line-out.
Yeah, the guys in the studio called for some urgency in that first 10 minutes, and certainly seen that from Ulster. Much improved performance thus far in the second half, and they'll look to continue that with some clinical execution of this line-out.
Nick Williams and Roger Wilson out of it. It's even Stevens at the Liberty Stadium. Osprey 6, Leinster 6. And also wouldn't mind if it stayed like that. Pienaar need to put a wee bit more distance than that. Well gathered in though by Harry Robinson. Joined the Scarlets at the start of the season after several seasons with the Cardiff Blues. Aled Davis, and that's gone more or less vertical. Back on the Ulster side, Van der Merwe tried to get it away. That's gone loose. Killed by Humphreys. Pienaar with no out half to play with. Van der Merwe, James Davis over it again. This time it's Pienaar for position. Oh, that's a belter. That's one of those kicks that gives your forwards an extra spring in the step.
Yeah, and Ruan Pienaar really starting to exert his influence on the game. Extremely efficient tactical kicker. He knew exactly where the space was and had the skill to be able to execute, and that's just showing you the value of that wind. When you've got kickers of Pienaar's calibre, you can really exploit those conditions.
Long throw by the Scarlets hooker and skipper Ken Owens, but the referee not happy with it. Mrs. Owens won his first cap against Namibia in the World Cup in 2011. Ulster disrupt, very nearly got it. Barkley takes it on. Big rangy Scot. Oh, stolen by Ulster. That's good work by Rob Herring. Pienaar, Wilson, Van der Merwe with him. James Davis with the tackle on Ulster's captain. Here goes Vian Herbst. Needs just to make sure he sets it up nicely, and he has done. But the Scarlets have slowed it down. Taken on by Dan Toohey. Now Humphreys. Oh, right through is Luke Marshall. What a try by the young centre. Well, in more danger of getting mobbed by his teammates than he was by the Scarlets defence. Nicely set up. Ulster were patient, but what a good finish.
Yeah, outstanding finish, and very dangerous that close to the line. Powerful player, but this is where you see Ian Humphreys at his best, taking the ball to the line, plenty of options. Nice little bit of work by Darren Cave. We get another look at that, just holding in the defender, close to the line, throws a dummy. Cave just holds him for a bit. Shingler appeals to the referee, but the try is duly awarded. Excellent finish by Marshall.
Well, he was right on the shoulder, and he took that little flip pass from Ian Humphreys, going at a fair old lick. So Ulster in the lead for the first time in this game, and we're up to nearly 12 minutes in the second half. Ruan Pienaar has the extra points, and Ulster now leading by 18 points to 13. Perfectly done. Don't see what the Scarlets had to complain about. It was nicely done. The gap was there, and Luke Marshall romped through it. That's a very clever kick back in the Scarlets side. Ulster really didn't read that. It held up nicely in the wind, though, for the Scarlets. Replacement scrum half for the Scarlets on as international Gareth Davis, to add a little bit of bite to it, a feisty character. Here's another one, Rob McCusker. Gareth Davis, the replacement. Shingler tries to step inside Rob Herring, whose initial steal was what helped to set up that try for Ulster. Scarlets by no means finished. George Earl back inside. Michael Tangi Thakenbau, brother of Salacey, who's now with London Wasps. This is James Davis, brother of Jonathan, who's on Welsh duty this weekend. George Earl. Rob Herring. Nick Williams comes clattering in again. Needs just to be careful. Davis, Shingler into a wee bit of space. Well gathered by Louis Ludick. And he's seen a big gap now. That needs to slow down a little bit, and it has. and Ludick and Clive Ross are chasing after it. The Scarlets have a man down on the park. And here's the man who's been very quiet, Hadley Parks. Well taken by Gilroy. Good step by Gilroy. Needs a little bit of help, but he's placed it nicely. Well, nothing wrong with that, says the referee, and Ulster just not quick enough to react. That was another decent try-scoring chance, but it's certainly Ulster with the tails up at the moment. Gareth Davis waits. Ludick has got Michael Allen outside him, and he's got Luke Marshall outside him. Allen with a good step, foot on the gas from Michael Allen. He's done well, gets it to Pinar. Pinar's going to get the third try, is he? Not quite. Still there. Clive Ross looking for his first Ulster try, and it's Michael Allen is in there as well. Options on both sides for Ulster. Here's Nick Williams. Again, he's held up. Herring is there. And held up over the line, and Ulster will get the 5-metre scrum on the Scarlets, and I think it's Michael Tangi Thakambawa's down injured. What a turnaround, what a passage of play right at the start of the second half by this Ulster team, who really needed to find something special.
Yeah, there's a different energy out there in the second half. There's an urgency and an intensity about what Ulster are doing, the support lines that they're running, the conviction with which they're taking the ball into contact, and that's translating into points on the scoreboard.
Held up, scrum your ball.
Michael Tangi Thakambawa, the 29-year-old who played for Fiji in the 2011 World Cup, is down. It might have been a bit of a collision. That was the tackle by Ruan Pinar, and down he went on his elbow. And did he catch a stray boot? I think he might just have caught a stray boot, and it was completely accidental, needless to say. Well, not needless to say, but it was completely accidental. I think he's going to be okay. He may not take any more part in this game, and the Scarlets have got a wing-for-wing replacement on the bench, because Christian Phillips, who's a pretty useful customer, is on the bench. But it's good to see Michael Tangi Thakambawa not up on his feet, but up on his backside. Well, he looks very wobbly, and I understand at half-time in the studio the little item on concussion involving the Ulster medical director Michael Webb, and I'm sure he'll go off and he'll be assessed, but he doesn't look too bad. But no chances are going to be taken. So on is going to come number 23, Christian Phillips.
And the Scarlets have kicked poorly into the wind, haven't really adjusted, and again we just see that elusive footwork from Craig Gilroy, and Michael Allen also creating some havoc and drawing the defenders in. Pinar released, but some desperate cover defence from Scarlets denying Ulster, but it really has been an improved second half performance.
Well, 15 minutes gone, and Ulster have turned around a 13-6 half-time deficit to an 18-13 lead. There's Christian Phillips, who's played against Ulster a time or two, has got an awful lot of pace out in that wing. Big scrum this for Ulster. Rob Herring hooks it. Here go Ulster with the shove. That's good work by Ulster. Williams controlling. Referee's given a penalty against the Scarlets. And Ulster, I'm sure, will go for another scrum and maybe try to squeeze a penalty try out of Ben Whitehouse, the referee.
They've gone straight.
Yeah, they've got a dominant scrum. They've sheared off on that occasion, is the ruling. They'll go for another scrum, and don't expect to see that ball pop out too quickly. Given the dominance they've had, they'll have a penalty try firmly in their sights.
Well, that soft surface at Ravenhill is really starting to show signs of wear and tear.
Lads, we're going to move it out.
Well, the crowd now in fine voice.
Seconds.
And as we've mentioned a time or two before, Ulster have a pretty tough run in. They've got to go to Connacht, never an easy place to visit, and then they're at home to Leinster, and then Munster, and then away to Glasgow. Those are the last four fixtures of the Pro 12 season. In again from Pinar and Ulster. That's collapsed.
Both sides. Both sides.
But the referee said that's collapsed on both sides. Nick Williams, it was a little bit too easy for him. He wasn't going to get in as easily as that. And Ulster will have the scrum again. They just need to keep their discipline, keep the knees off the ground.
Just straight down, lads. We're going to reset. The ground's come
win
away,
the ball
no
and
issues.
get the straight shove. And I have a feeling if they do win the ball and get the straight shove, the referee might just go under the post, but we shall see.
Yeah, it's just a case of when he runs out of patience, if Ulster can keep the pressure on in that department. And the crowd certainly enjoying this second half more than they did the first. Some great passages of play from Ulster. Poor kicking from Scarlets have allowed them really to blossom, but just the difference in the intensity at which they're applying themselves in the second half.
Crouch!
Ulster have 4 of their backs on the near side of the field, the Ulster right. It's all about the winning of the scrum yet again. Pienaar told to put it in he does. Good squeeze by Vian Herbst. And again, the referee, Ben Whitehouse, is saying nobody's at fault. And again, Aaron Shingra protesting that Vian Herbst is taking it down. And Phil John is protesting that he's taking it down.
I want to speak to you, just these two. Okay. You keep your bind up, and you don't drop to the knee when you feel the pressure, okay? Stay up. I will judge his bind, and you stay up.
Well, Ulster need to get this right, because I think Ben Whitehouse will be keeping an eye on Vian Herbst about just exactly where he's going with his knees and so on. He needs to keep this up, and he needs to drive straight. Scarlets doing well. A try at this stage for Ulster would, well, maybe not see them home, but put them pretty close to it. And that's how close they are to the Scarlets line. Coming up to the end of the third quarter, and only an unconverted try between them.
Set.
Herbst has got the back right. That's better. Here they go again. Oh, kicked out by... And Pienaar's going to score. It doesn't matter who kicked it out. Pienaar has got yet another try for Ulster. And a gap of 10 points is opened up, and it all came from a dominant scrum.
Yeah, dominant scrum and a wonderful little piece of skill from Nick Williams as he gets in position there, attracts the halfback from the Scarlets, and as he's trying to interfere with that, he just gives that shotgun little flick of the hand, and nothing that Scarlets' defence could do at that point. Pienaar throws a little dummy, defending against an overlap, and a wonderful little bit of trickery from Williams at the back of the scrum to put Pienaar over. And dare Ulster start thinking about taking more than 4 points, which looked very unlikely at half-time, and stretching that out to 5 courtesy of an additional try if it's in the offing.
Yeah. He's got that one. They had a good look at each other. So Ulster are now 12 points ahead as we go into the final quarter of this game. Ulster leading by 25 points to 13. And that's what the crowd have come to expect from them at home.
Yeah, down first half, but they were playing into a very strong wind, and they're certainly using the elements now to best effect and looking to establish that field position again.
And it's Pienaar, the architect of Ulster's lead, has put them into a good position. What a good kick that was. Taken in by Christian Phillips, the Scarlets replacement wing three-quarter. Replacement scrum half Gareth Davis just settles it all down, having a wee glance to assess his options. And option number 1 is to kick, and that's not a bad kick. It's given the men in red something to chase. Back on Gilroy's side, Williams, lovely little offload. Van der Merwe gets it to Tui, who started the season with tries in the opening 3 games, but has nudged that on, and Gilroy's struggling a wee bit, but I think he's okay. Just got a bang in the hip. He's saying to Gareth Robinson, Ulster's chief physio, that he's fine.
Marshall,
They won't want to take any chances with him.
Can I have just a check of that last contest in the air?
Okay, the last contest. Stand by.
I'm just checking.
Ben Whitehouse is going upstairs to the TMO,
Seven,
Marshall Kilgore, just in case there was something illegal going on in the air.
We're still going to check that, but instead of going over there for the scrum, we've now reversed it to a penalty against him. You're a mug, Ben, okay? So once this restarts now, we're going to go back 10 metres and have a penalty in front of the sticks. His decision, not mine.
James Davis, who's living a little bit too close to the edge, may just have said something to the referee. Now up goes Gilroy.
Yeah, just looking to challenge in the air, that's all.
Ooh, now did the man go for the ball, and was there a knee left? To be fair to James Davis, they were both going for the ball. Davis never took his eye off it. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. No, and the referee's happy about that. But I think James Davis has given the referee a bit of old chit-chat.
Just spoken out of turn by here, okay?
And Ben Whitehouse is not having it. Spoken out of turn, he says that gives Ulster the penalty.
Number 7, keep it quiet, please.
Yeah, fair contest in the air. Both players in the air, both competing for the ball, and both left at the same time, and just a good, honest contest for the ball. Craig Gilroy landing heavily on the back of it, but both players up in the air contesting.
And in the meantime, Rowan Pienaar has kicked the ball into the corner, and Ulster will have the attacking line-out. Still time for Ulster to press home this advantage. Neil Doak will be a lot happier. Is there a little glimpse of a smile there? Not yet. Wait till the final whistle comes. The Irish under-20s have gone down by 5 points, losing 19-14 to England this evening. Here come Ulster looking for try number 4.
No, he's not.
Good work by Rob McCusker trying to disrupt. Ulster churning forward. Referee saying to Scarlets to get out of it. Good defending by Scarlets. Here come Ulster round the side. That's Nick Williams leading the charge. Now back on the Ulster side. Marshall. Not much room there. James Davis, the man who gave away the penalty with the tackle. Pienaar, Clive Ross. Good leg drive by the former Lansdowne player. Pienaar again. Taken on by Dan Toohey. Now it's Pienaar. Good switch. Humphreys. Williams. Solid handoff. Trying to get it away with one massive paw. And Ulster concede the penalty.
Release.
Not releasing him the tackle against Nick Williams. Well, if it stays like this, Ulster won't complain, Ryan, but I think they would like more.
Just looking to get that ball free, waving it around, inviting someone to take a line off him, but unfortunately, once it went to ground, Ulster weren't able to clear out. But with a little bit of patience now, no need to panic. Go through that exit strategies, establish field position. You feel that there's another try in it for them if they take that pragmatic approach.
Marks there.
16.5 minutes to go. Ulster 12 points ahead, so to win this, the Scarlets are going to have to get a couple of tries. Back in the Scarlet side, courtesy of George Earl. Through comes Rob Herring, who snatched it. Seems to be a man down injured. Referee was hesitating there. Ospreys leading Leinster by 9 points to 6. So Ospreys having faded off the scene for a while. Seem to be coming back, but a long way to go there at the Liberty Stadium. Game started at the same time as this one. Bronson Ross is coming on to play tight head instead of Vian Herbst, interestingly.
Yeah, I'm just double checking, mate.
Yeah, just having a look on screen. Arm came around from an Ulster player. It looked like it may have been just trying to effect a binding or maybe knock the ball away, and it's made some contact with the Scarlets player. So probably caught the attention, but may not be anything in it.
Double checking.
Good taken by George Earl. There's nothing wrong with that from the throw by Ken Owens. There's Earl. He's gathered it. He's brought it down. Roger Wilson comes round and tries to sweep the ball away with his arm. Don't think there's anything much wrong with that.
No, yeah, I think that's fine. Yep.
Scrum here.
Referee's given a scrum. That's a good bit of officiating and good work between Ben Whitehouse and Marshall Kilgore.
Reds are in possession. I blew time off.
That was the catch by Earl. Down looking for Barton. His supporter did, and Roger Wilson came through and slung the arm trying to disrupt. So number 18 for Ulster is on, Bronson Ross. And Vian Herbst, the special project player from South Africa, has had another good game.
I'll step to the right. Yeah, right.
So it's 16 minutes remaining.
Crouch. Bind.
First scrum for Ross.
His jersey's ripped, lads, and that's why it's gone down. His jersey's ripped, and that's why I'm happy it's gone to the floor.
Somebody, it seems, has a suspect jersey, according to the referee. The jersey is ripped, he says.
Okay, lads, let's go. Did you change it? Okay.
Are they going to change the jersey? No, at the moment. Well, the pace has dropped because of all that. There it is, ripped. Well, nothing wrong with that at the moment. It's not really affecting his opposite prop, and straight away Bronson Ross is in with a torn jersey.
Set.
Well, he's being tugged down by that. Good squeeze by Ulster. Roger Wilson comes round, has made a real mess of that. Gareth Davis under huge pressure. Nick Williams came through, needs to be careful. Stephen Shinger has to go into a scrum half for the Scarlets. Taken on by Rob McCusker. Gareth Davis outside his 22. That's into a little bit of space. Well gathered in by Michael Allen. And has that gone forward from Allen? Good work by the Ulster pack. They've really got back and secured it. Pienaar saying, somebody get wide. Now they give it to Herring. Nicely done by Herring. Kick was by Humphreys. It's not a bad one. All the way back goes Jordan Williams. If he can, he will run it. And he's been well tackled. Darren Cave did a good job on the Welsh fullback. George Earl. A little bit of obstruction there perhaps by Phil John. Gareth Davis again. Shingler. They're going to have to run this, and they've got men over. James Davis gets it away. And here goes Harry Robinson, who is seriously quick. Ulster nearly snapping that on the ground. Referee saying that it was a ruck and not a maul.
It's a ruck.
And the hand went in, which you're not allowed to do. The difference between the ruck and the maul is that the ruck, the ball is on the ground. Ooh, that was interesting. Well, the ball was sitting there, and Ulster have conceded the penalty. Still time for the Scarlets to come back.
Yeah, difficult with that sort of lead playing into this wind, and some excellent bit of passing to release the Scarlets down the right flank, and then a very effective tackle from Louis Luddick faced with a 2-on-1 situation. Ulster always with that luxury when they're in their own half to put the big hoof in and get straight back down. Scarlets are going to have to work through the phases with ball in hand.
It's run by McCusker. Shinger to Hadley Parks up to Ulster's 10-metre line. Change of direction by Gareth Davis. Little chip kick through. Somebody did a very silly tackle off the ball. No need for that whatsoever. And that's a penalty that Ulster didn't need to concede.
You stepped into him.
Not so much a tackle or a block, but just stepping into the ball carrier.
Yeah, that little kick went through. A couple of Ulster players turned their back. Whether they took an extra step to get in the way of the kicker was the question, and the referee certainly felt they did.
Well, this is going to give Stephen Shinger the chance to put the Scarlets into Ulster's 22 for the first time in this half, and really only for the second time in the entire game. The first being when they got the intercept try in the first half. So 12 minutes or so to go. Scarlets need 12 points to draw level.
I'm happy there, I'm happy there.
And playing into this wind, difficult to see how they could achieve it by chipping away with 3 points. So they've gone the chips in option, looking to get this line out, potentially a driving maul, see what they can manufacture.
Down to Lewis Rawlings, who knocked it into one of his own players, who knocked it forward. And just when the Scarlets needed their discipline to be at its sharpest, it wasn't.
Four.
Lewis Stevenson is coming on, and Dan Toohey, who's played his first game in about 5 or 6 weeks, goes off. And Lewis Stevenson, who's been there or thereabouts in matchday squads all season, coming on for his 77th Ulster appearance.
Yeah, time's still off. Time is off.
Wants to make another replacement. Andrew Warwick, who scored a spectacular try last time out at home against Treviso, has come on for Callum Black, who's put in another good evening at the old coalface. And pat in the back from former Ulster prop and matchday manager David Miller.
Yeah, we're going to move it. Yeah, out the ball.
Well, we might see this man replaced if Ulster secure the bonus point win. Running repairs for Big George Earl. born in Durban, has spells with both the Lions and the Cheetahs.
And now that Ulster have created that 3-try cushion that they're enjoying, I'm sure they're looking at that clock and wondering whether there's time to get that 4th try. Points are going to be crucial in determining the makeup of that top 4 and indeed the top 2 to get that home semi-final. All those teams have tough run-ins playing each other, and Ulster really need to profit during this period when they're playing teams lower on the table.
Scarlets warming up, back row forward, Jack Payne it seems. So Ulster with 2 changes in the front row, Andrew Warwick at loose head and Bronson Ross at tight head. Is it going to impair the scrummaging? Certainly doesn't look like it. Here goes Williams, Luke Marshall. James Davis threatening to go over the top again. Roger Wilson. Solid run, well tackled by Hadley Parks. Away by Louis Ludick as he finds his touch. And yes, he has. So Ulster will leave a little bit of the pressure, but there's still a long way to go to the Scarlets line. Very strong wind actually blowing into the Scarlets' faces.
Yeah, no need for Ulster to panic. Move on to the next bit, which is the line out. Went through a couple of phases there to create a little bit of angle for the clearance kick, and just concentrating in sections now. Over to the line out, try and put some pressure on the Scarlets line out. Hasn't functioned particularly well this evening. Opportunity just before 5 metres out that didn't go to plan, and Ulster will try and get some people in the air on this one, you think?
Well, Jack Payne, born in Darwin in Australia, comes on for only his 3rd Scarlets game. Gareth Davis, Hadley Parks. Tackle was by Craig Gilroy. Here come the Scarlets again. Stephen Shingler well tackled. Men in red still taking it forward. Gareth Davis. Also getting players into the right defensive situation. Gareth Davis, Harry Robinson. Who caused Ulster a problem or 2 a few minutes ago. Davis again. Quicker ball for the Scarlets. This is Rob McCusker. Runs into Andrew Warwick. Gareth Davis tries to step inside Franco van der Merwe, collared by Lewis Stevenson, who will hold him off the ground, and the ball has come back rather untidily. Here's McCusker. That's a good pass. Rawlings gets across the 22. Gareth Davis with a wee petulant stamp there. Referee says play on, and Ulster have nabbed that one. I think the Scarlets might have regained it, but the knock forward was by the men in red, and Ulster will get the foot into the scrum. 9 minutes to go. Ulster a long way from the Scarlets line, and therefore the chance of a 4th try.
Last one was fine after I spoke to them.
Yeah, a little bit of time they've spent now inside their own 22, looking for some comfort from set piece, trying to establish that field position again to apply the pressure.
Well, I had a glimpse there of Craig Gilroy, the man who sparked off Ulster's 2nd half revival. What a very good tackle that was by Darren Cave. Round the ankles, down came the man. Ulster able to get to the ball, and the referee said the Scarlets had knocked it forward, hence the Ulster scrummage.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, inside. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Again, another good Ulster scrum. Pienaar. Luke Marshall from the outside half position. And that's a good clearance by Luke Marshall. With plenty of experience as a schoolboy number 10.
14.
Yeah, excellent clearance.
14.
Couple of kicking options for Ulster. Pienaar's kicked particularly well. Luddick clearing before. Marshall on that occasion. Humphrey. So certainly got the arsenal there to be able to create this field position, but haven't had the ability to get their hands on the ball in the last 10 minutes, and sure that'll be frustrating them as they go in search of that bonus.
Stolen by Ulster, but through comes James Davis. And he's given away a penalty. Davis, who scored the conclusive try against Ulster in the fixture at Parky Scarlets in the European Champions Cup. Ulster bringing on a couple of placements, and there's the man on the left with the hands crossed is an unfamiliar sight to a lot of us, and he's Ulster's new signing, albeit on a temporary basis, Samoan international Mike Stanley. Graham McCormick set to come on as well, who's infinitely more familiar. And Rory Scholes, who hasn't played a lot of rugby this season because of injury, set to come on as well. But will they wait until they take this crucial line out? And the answer is no, they won't. So off goes Ian Humphries, and on comes Mike Stanley, nephew of the great Smoking Joe Stanley, former All Black centre who played in the World Cup winning side away back in 1987. Michael Allen goes off and Rory Scholes comes on. Good drive by Ulster. They have still time for this fourth try, and how they would love to get it, because that could be important in the final mix. Ulster still churning forward. Clive Ross has the ball in hand, and away he goes. He's broken free. Pienaar, Stanley, a little soft Ian Humphries style pass and a bit of crossing there, and Ulster have given away another chance to score. But all the pressure now coming from the men in white, taken quickly by the Scarlets. Probably feel they're still in this game. Even a losing bonus point to them would be crucial, given that they still have serious ambitions of finishing in the top 6 and thus qualifying for the Champions Cup next year.
Yeah, there's intrigue across that table. Those 5 teams competing for 4 spots and home semi-final advantage, and then a group of 3 teams competing for those 6-7 spots, which could determine whether they have top-level European rugby.
Gareth Davis, Stephen Shingler to Hadley Parks. Tackled by Mike Stanley. Davis looking for that little gap, and the very quick Rob Herring closes it down, and great bustling stuff by big Franco van der Merwe. Good grappling at close quarters by Andrew Warwick. Lewis Rawlings takes it on. Nick Williams holding it up. Referee has called for the maul.
It's a collapse maul, lads.
The maul has collapsed, and Ulster should get the foot in to the scrum, and they do. The crowd started to boo as the referee pointed toward the Scarlets, but he was only saying that it was taken in by the Scarlets, and they couldn't get it away, and Ulster will get the scrummage. Still time for that elusive bonus point try.
Excellent work by Nick Williams, who's featured prominently in this game, working in concert there with Clive Ross and just not allowing the Scarlets player to get the ground. Clive Ross taking a fair old whack there, but once that turns into a more very difficult with players of that calibre to get it to ground.
Clive Ross, having taken the whack, as Ryan said, has left the field. And Mike McComish, who played 4 successive games, has come on. And Paul Marshall looks like he's going to come on as well. 4 minutes remaining. Also looking for try number 4.
Point. Set. Hold.
Solid scrum. Pienaar, Mike Stanley. Nice pass, Luke Marshall. Ludick. Good step by Ludick. Tries to get away from Hadley Parks. Pienaar in quickly. There was a Scarlet's hand come in and knocked it forward. Well, the referee said to the touch judge, was that okay? I thought it was knocked forward. Regan King, is there a little bit of magic left in those legs? Here comes Parks. Taken off at the ankles. Gareth Davis, chip and chase. Somebody needs to gather it. Rory Scholes can't quite do it. Well saved by Louis Ludick. Payne gets in the way. Here's Roger Wilson, whom I understand has been named as man of the match. Not for the first time. Pienaar on the narrow side. Herring. Good support from Andrew Warwick. Pienaar again. Williams. Pienaar quickly. Lewis Stevenson. Well released by Stevenson. Nicely done. Franco van der Merwe has had a terrific game this evening. Pienaar. Wee chance on the narrow side. Here's Ludick. Gets himself tackled, but makes it available. Pienaar. Bronson Ross. Good clean out of James Davis. Knocked on by Ulster. Referee playing advantage for the Scarlets. Stephen Shingler gets away. Good support by Regan King. Here comes Rob Herring. He's stolen it again. Two minutes to go. little kick for Ulster to chase. All the way back goes Harry Robinson. He's going to have to be quick. Oh, he gets away. He does well. He is very dangerous. What a cracking thump he took there from Nick Williams. Ulster might have turned that one over, but the referee has penalised them.
Side entry.
Coming in from the side, taken quickly by Gareth Davis. Oh, it's Jordan Williams who's got away. They're going to have to be quick to catch him. Well, he's got away from a couple of tacklers. Mike Stanley eventually brings him down. Don't think there's time for the Scarlets to win this game, but they've got the penalty. Ulster going in from the side again.
22, side entry.
And the man penalised was Mike Stanley. They've taken it quickly. It is going to be a try, and as Christian Phillips gets in, and the Scarlets have finished with the try that Ulster so desperately wanted, it's not going to affect the outcome, but it'll certainly encourage the Scarlets, and there is going to be time for the restart. And if this conversion goes over, you never know what might happen.
Yeah, probably thought you might have had to take that behind the mark and behind the referee, not behind his back, but he made the most of it, and some clever stepping here to buy his support players a little bit more time to get there. Mike Stanley was the man who affected the tackle, so you'll feel a little bit aggrieved that he was adjudicated to have come in from the side, and then that man Regan King, the class just oozing out of him, spotting the where the space was and throwing that perfectly timed pass. Make the most of that mismatch in numbers, and Scarlets potentially taking something away from this game.
Well, they say about boxers that the last thing that you use is you lose is your punch, and although Regan King is not just as quick as he was, he still has got that ability to find space. What a beautiful pass that was.
No. Time elapsed now, Marshall. Yeah.
Paul Marshall.
Yes, your time.
Thank you.
And this is going to be full time, and Paul Marshall will not get on to win another Ulster cap, number 143 by my reckoning. The last say in what has been a very, very interesting second half is going to go to Stephen Shingler, and he's kicked that very nicely indeed. And that's a good kick by Shingler. And the referee has a look at his watch, and he's decided it's all over. And Ulster have won a game that looked as if it was going to be tough for them to win at half-time. They come back in splendid style in the second half, scoring 3 tries. The first, a real beaut by Craig Gilroy, then Luke Marshall and Ruan Pienaar himself. Back came the Scarlets, and Ulster will be happy enough to have won this game by 25 points to 20. Thoughts on Ryan Constable?
Yeah, fairly drab first half. Did well into the win to manage that scoreboard, bar the last-minute try, but then it was that piece of individual brilliance from Craig Gilroy that really ignited that Ulster team. They played with an urgency and intensity in that second half that the Scarlets couldn't match, and deserved victors in a highly entertaining second half.
Well, there's the man who sparked the whole thing, Craig Gilroy, in fine form. Still serious ambitions about swapping the white of Ulster for the green of Ireland. That is a matter for one Joe Schmidt. So not a bad return at all. Ulster have kept their home record for this season intact as far as the league's concerned, and they've won this game by 25 points to 20.
Thank you, Jim and Ryan. That's more like it. What a great turnaround by Ulster. Andy Ward and Maurice Field, both very critical at half-time, but credit where credit's due. That was an excellent second-half performance by Ulster.
Yes, as Andy said, the first 10 minutes were going to be crucial. As poor as that first half was, the first 25 minutes of that second half were excellent. There was intensity, there was accuracy, there was passion, there was commitment, all the qualities you'd expect of an Ulster team, and all the qualities as we as former players and these people out here would expect.
Yeah, I know they came out good. You know, we talked about it. That's exactly what we wanted. They had a response. Obviously, Neil Dokestroke, Alex Ferguson had a chat, and but it paid dividends because they came out and they did what they needed to do and really ignited the game and got themselves on the front foot. And now they were just pushing hard to try and get that bonus point to last and didn't quite get it. But unfortunately, listen, another job done.
Roger Wilson, man of the match this evening. I mean, another sterling performance by Wilson.
If anybody wants to watch Roger Wilson and wonder why Roger got it tonight, if you just watch his work rate, not for 20 minutes, for 80 minutes. 80 minutes this week, 80 minutes the last week, and every game he goes out and Roger Wilson delivers, and he's just so solid and Mr. Consistency. And tonight for me, he kept the glue together. He was a big pot of glue in there tonight.
Yeah, and he's taken on the mantle with Rory Best. You know, he's the leader of that squad out there at the present moment. Some of the dexterity, given his age, hitting 30, we'll see this. The pickup from here is just absolutely exceptional. Look at that skill, ball away from contact, and just trying to keep the game flowing.
He's at the forefront of everything that Ulster are looking to do, you know, and that's to pick that off your shoelaces and stuff. And he's nearly as old as Morris now, and to pull that off. But he's just, you know, he doesn't panic. He's cool, calm, and collected. He's shown a lot of maturity in his rugby, the way he plays now. He's been at the right places at the right times, and for me, that is just he's a cracking player.
But it was Craig Gilroy's try that absolutely lit up Ravenhill. I mean, magical feat. Superb pace, what a score.
This is what we know that Craig can do. You know, he takes the high ball. I think the Scarlets here, just a high ball, just trying to relieve the pressure. Craig get himself in a good position. We've been critical over the couple of years he's been in the wrong position. This is brilliant. High ball, quick feet, we dance, step, show and go. That's beautiful. Just show and go, and shows great strength and balance here, and he knows what his try line is.
But his form of late has been absolutely tremendous. I mean, last week he was, you know, he's just harassing players, and I'm just so delighted for him, because this is just individual brilliance here. Back yourself, back yourself. There you go. Play rugby, back yourself. He's so confident. He's just lovely. Knew what he wanted to do, got the result.
Great start. Took on a donkey, beat him on the outside.
you could watch that try all day long. Absolutely brilliant stuff from young Craig Gilroy. But it's time to hear from the man of the match. Roger Wilson is with Gavin Andrews.
Roger, I suppose the obvious first question is what was said at half-time?
I think we said at the beginning of the game that anytime you play against the Scarlets, they're a difficult team to break down, and you just got to be patient. And at the same time, we weren't very accurate with the ball. I think that was the thing that killed us. Also, our discipline wasn't good enough. Something that we talked about during the week on the back of the Edinburgh performance. So the combination of the two probably didn't really help us an awful lot, and we just really struggled to get out of our half a little bit. So it was really basic stuff. But we knew if we just kept the work rate going, that eventually we'd try and break them down in the second half.
There seemed like a real up in intensity at the start of that second half.
Yeah, I think that was the key, really. We thought it was a bit of a stop-start game that first half. We're a team that likes to play with a bit of tempo, and we did our best to try and increase that tempo in the second half, stretch them a little bit, and I think the game started to open up a little bit, and that was the key to it in the end.
How pleasing is it to be on a nice little run now during the Six Nations?
Yeah, no, it's good. I think 3 from 3 or 4 from 4 at the minute, but a decent little run, building into obviously a crucial end to the season. We spoke about these 4 games, wanting to get 4 from 4 and cement our place in the top 4. So at the moment we're doing pretty well, and a big one next week, and then going to a little break.
From a personal point of view, you've been very consistent. A bit of recognition, getting in the Ireland squad. How nice was that?
That was alright, yeah. It's always nice to be recognised, but yeah, focus is obviously with Ulster at the moment, and we've got a huge opportunity towards the end of the season, and I think we're on the right track.
Okay, Rog, congratulations. Let's bring in Neil Doak very quickly. Neil, another win and a big performance from this man. How satisfied are you with particularly how it lifted in the second half?
Yeah, look, we played pretty well in the first half, and just unfortunate to go in at half time down. You know, we looked at our discipline during the week, and we give Scarlets a few opportunities to get on the board, and you know we'll look at that during the week again. But you know, from Roger's point of view, you know, he's been playing pretty well for us, very consistent. And, you know, we had hoped that he might have sneaked into the squad for this weekend against England, and would have been a credit to him, you know, in the work that he's done this year. But very pleased with the win, you know, and like we would have taken it before the game when it got to a stage where we had 3 tries and maybe looking for that bonus. We maybe chased it a wee bit too much, and you know, had a penalty in front of the posts. Maybe we should have took the points and you know and just build on that last 20 minutes. But absolutely delighted with another win.
And things move in the right direction for a top 4 place. Dragons next week. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, look, they've been playing some good rugby. You know, they obviously beat Leinster a couple of weeks ago. You know, great result for them, and you know, we know they're a difficult side at home. You know, they've had some big scores actually in you know, the European Challenge Cup and a few other games. So we know it's not to be underestimated going there. You know, we've struggled there in the past, and we've got to be solid and you know, make sure that you know we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We've got to take one game at a time and make sure that we're on the money next week. You know, there's a few aspects we weren't happy with tonight, but you know, there's something to build on, and absolutely delighted.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, the Ulster team taking their lap of honour, a few selfies for the young fans down there. And just to bring you up to date with one other result from this evening, it has finished the Ospreys 9, Leinster 9. And Luke Marshall, we saw there getting his picture taken, and probably after that great try scored tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Once again, it was a well-constructed try. The build-up leading into the try was very, very good. And, you know, guys are working hard. There's a lot of our big players doing some hard yards leading into this, you know, and decisions were made. But we're getting into 22, and I just love getting into 22 and coming away with something tangible, and they just worked. There's a bit of a workman-like setup here, but lovely touch from Ian there, and, you know, that's what he's good. We talked about at the top of the show. I'll give him a little bit of a kick as well, because, you know, his hands can be here, they can be there, but it just goes to show what he's capable of. He's lovely hands.
And as we said, he's reactive. He didn't have to think about that. It just happened in front of him. It was instinctiveness, instinctive play, and that's what he's excellent at. Luke Marshall took a very, very good line there. But that all came from the fact that the ball was being placed accurately. It was very quick, clean out, and it was put on a plate for Ruan Pienaar just to get the ball away from the breakdown.
And Pienaar tonight, another very steady performance by him.
Yeah, I haven't seen Ruan play a bad game for Ulster. What's he here? Nearly 2-3 years now. So listen, he's fantastic, and we're very, very fortunate to have him wearing a white shirt of Ulster. He just absolutely, like, he's just class. You know, that you can't coach at. It's just ball in two hands and just keep the opposition guessing, you know, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
Rob McCluster, the scrum half there, obviously got a wee bit caught inside, and that gives Ruan the opportunity. And it's just a show and go. The half sort of caught in two minds. If he steps in, Ruan has the skills just to offload.
I mean, they come from the scrum. The scrum's been absolutely dynamic tonight. We've got a beautiful little angle of the scrum, which meant the Clonethley whole back row was wiped out. So it just became backs on backs, and that's what it's all about. So the forwards, credit where credit's due. He took the glory. Forwards set the scene.
And it's that type of action that Ulster need, that kind of play that Ulster need to take away on the road to the Dragons next week. The league table is making good reading, kind of joint top there with the Glasgow on points at the moment.
Yeah, and that was based on a 25-minute performance in the second half. First half they were poor. At 25-20 points, that was 5 points difference. And it seems as if it's a tight game. Ulster, to me, were in control of that basically for the whole game. They were in control of it because they made the mistakes that allowed the Scarlets in.
Okay, Maurice, Andy, thank you very much indeed. As we said, next up for Ulster is an away trip to Wales. You can see the Dragons against Ulster live from Rodney Parade next Sunday afternoon. Coverage starts at 5 to 4. Before that, of course, all eyes on Ireland's Six Nations Challenge. They meet England in Dublin this Sunday. The game is live on BBC One. I should say, great result for Ireland's women tonight. They beat England 11-8 in the Six Nations Championship. Next month, we'll be having a Six Nations special on BBC Two just before the last round of matches, and we want to hear from you by using that hashtag #Ask6. We want you to tell us what is your best Irish Six Nations try of all time, and we'll reveal the favourite on the programme. And finally, a reminder about a programme you can see this Monday evening. We profile one of Ulster's Ireland's greatest ever players, Willie Joe McBride, at 10:45.